One more job shouldn't have mattered. I'd killed nobles before. You could float a whaling ship, and the high-born blood I've spilled. Another noble steps in to replace the last one. All equally corrupt. Why should an empress be different? But she was. I watched her bodyguard's face as they took him away. Dead eyes. I knew I'd pay for this one. Maybe I deserved to. A storm was coming that would shake apart everything I'd built.
No! Get away from her! Corvo!
Dunwall was a grim place, full of greedy lords who would see half the city die to the plague. They'd become tyrants of their own worlds. Businessmen hoarding the wealth of their workers whilst forcing them into poverty. Lords living outside the law, destroying families by taking their homes and wealth, all for the sake of funding the regime of Hiram Burrows, the new Lord Regent. For him, not even the Empress would stand in the way for his obsession with power. And it was one fateful day when history would change. Daud was the catalyst. Blessed with the Outsider's mark, he led his small army all across Dunwall, spilling noble blood. Now he was tasked with setting foot on Dunwall Tower, but this job would change him. Would the Knife of Dunwall lose its edge?
How the years pass and the bodies fall. I'm here because you're right. The Empress was different. This time, you can't just fade away into the shadows. I'm here to give you one last gift, Daud. It's a mystery. One that starts with a name. Delilah.
Delilah, a name that would both haunt Daud, but almost nearly consume him. It had been 6 months since the Empress died by his blade, and Lady Emily had been taken, and all he'd had to occupy his mind was that name, Delilah. It was a distraction from the now plague-ridden city he called home, from the guards breaking down doors and executing civilians they thought might be weepers, from the poverty that reached every corner of the capital city. But still, his search continued. Billy Lurk, his second-in-command, had located a ship called the Delilah. It was at a slaughterhouse run by a despicable man called Bundry Rothwild. He had a reputation for abusing his workers, but in desperate times people still needed work. But Daud didn't care about the workers. He just wanted to know about the Delilah.
Daud, you're here. I got bored, so I started without you. Turns out we're here on the perfect day. There's a strike at the plant, and it's no wonder. Rothwild runs this place like a prison. They've given the City Watch free rein to use force. There's a man out on the river watching the place. If I weren't so young and pure of heart, I'd suggest he's up to no good.
Trees deemed vital to state interests.
A strike. It could prove useful to have fewer eyes watching the shadows. But what about this boatman? Daud would have to investigate.
You're Daud.
Daud. Shit, I hope you ain't here for me. I'm just a little fish in a big pond.
I want to know about a ship. The Delilah.
Yeah, I heard of it. Listen, maybe we can help each other out. I work for a very rich man who's keen on seeing Rothwild's business go belly up. This whole business with the strike, our doing. We got a mole on the inside, a lady pretending to run the labor crews, a real talent. We were supposed to meet up last night. I've been spying on the place all day waiting to hear word. Only I haven't seen or heard a peep. I was about to shove off. You're here to make a little mayhem anyway. Maybe you could find her. If she's still alive, she'd be able to get you everything you need to know about that ship. No question. And a substantial reward besides. Her name's Abigail Ames.
Another opportunity. But now Daud needed to get inside the slaughterhouse. He'd heard time cards were the only way in through the front door. They shouldn't be too hard to find, but there must be other ways inside. To one side was a loading bay, but to reach it, Daud would need a whale oil tank to power the mechanism.
Must be reported to the city.
After taking out the workers, he found a tank from one of the workshops.
Rothwild's got a stubborn reputation. I doubt asking nicely is going to work. We'll have to find a more persuasive means of getting what you want out of him. He's probably close to his office. We should start there.
He was in, and there was no one around the upper floors of this decrepit building. He gagged at the wretched smell, but made his way down towards the whale carcasses nonetheless.
Marked for shipment to the most distant point of the Empire. And fitted for live cargo, too. Survivable, if they had a fast ship. I wonder who this was meant for. You box somebody up in that thing and they won't be back in town for months.
Yet another option, but one that got Daud thinking. Ever since he struck the Empress down, he'd become more reserved, second-guessing his every move whilst avoiding more and more risks. He didn't want to be found, nor leave a trail of blood wherever he went. Assassination may be his craft, but he felt responsible for the way Dunwall had changed. He felt guilty. Whatever Rothwild had done, whatever Daud learned from him, he shouldn't need to die, should he? Upon exploring the Slaughterhouse, Daud came across the meat locker.
I know what this is. A makeshift interrogation chair. Rothwild must be using it to coerce employees.
More insight into the sort of monster Rothwild was. No, Daud had to stay focused on his own task, but he could use the chair to his advantage. He found Rothwild in his office, along with Abigail Ames. It would appear Rothwild had seen through her facade. She was the woman the boatman talked about, the cause for the strikes.
No one is coming. I've broken your strike, and my butchers are the finest fighters in Dunwall. Miss Ames, you're about to find out a few things I learned when I was a gaffer. I can do things that don't even hurt at first. This conversation is going to last a long, long time.
Well, Daud, what do you want with me?
I'm not here for you. I'm here to learn about a ship called the Delilah.
I know all about the Delilah. All of it. And I can give you exactly what you want.
Please do.
Not so fast. I need something from you in exchange.
That's what I thought. What?
We're both professionals, Mr. Daud. I was hired to get these gutless workers striking, which I did very nicely. And then destroy the Slaughterhouse itself. That's where I got caught. And that's where I need your help. You take care of the Slaughterhouse, and I'll tell you everything I know about the Delilah.
Corporate espionage. Nothing new to Daud. But honestly, he didn't want to get involved. He was there for one reason only, to learn more about Delilah, one way or another. As for Abigail, he doubted she would know more than Rothwild did about the ship, so took him to the meat locker.
What do you want to know that's worth crossing a man like me?
I want to know about a ship named Delilah. What's behind the name?
Choke on your own spit.
Who is Delilah?
Ha! Think I'll give up a friend at the first tickle? That's the kind of thing I'd pay your sister for down at the Golden Cat.
Why did you name it Delilah?
What do you care? And it wasn't me. The previous owner named it after some sweetheart as a painting. Piss off!
Who was the previous owner?
Barrister Timps! All right? He told me the story. Delilah was a woman he knew. Grew up working in Dunwall Tower. Got kicked out. Became a painter. He couldn't think of anything else, just her. She wormed into his mind somehow. He built that ship for her, and a lot more. Gave her half his fortune. Then he got scared. Came to me afraid. Man like that, afraid. He wanted to dump the ship, and I needed a business partner, so we made a deal. And to change the name. Wish I'd done it.
I hope that was satisfying. Here's the room key, when you're ready to go. Sir, earlier I spotted crates bound for the most remote corner of the Empire. Might be worth stuffing him in one, just to tie things off. He doesn't seem the type to forgive, of course. Why go through all the trouble, when a blade to the neck would accomplish the same thing?
This was the choice he was unsure of for some reason. Rothwald was amongst the worst people in Dunwall, but it wasn't up to Daud to decide that. He just needed him quiet for a month or two, so sent him away to the far reaches of Tivia. Now all he needed was to get some fresh air.
I'm still trying to figure out why you let the Empress's bodyguard go. And now Rothwild's snug in a box. What's got into you? Barrister Timsh lives up in the legal district. I know it pretty well. From what I hear, the Timsh family is practically at war with itself. Talk to his niece Tali if you can. I should probably tag along when you go. Crazy rich people are buying up a lot of that Sokolov security technology these days. Keeps the weepers and looters out. I might be useful.
Let's go.
They left, knowing their next target. Arnold Timsh knew Delilah personally, and Daud was desperate to know how. Who was she? And why was the outsider so interested in her? Daud hoped the barrister would have the answers he needed, so went to pay him a visit. If you enjoyed this tale, please leave a like and share it with your friends. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.